And away we go. Hello, and welcome to another edition of the Big 12 Mafia Show on the College Football Mafia Network. I'm your host, Nathan Bomber Brown. Yes, I'm back in the house. I'm here. A little bit later in the show, I'll give everybody sort of a health update. We'll run through that really quick. Thank you, Moen. I appreciate the clapping. Just so everybody knows, I'm not really good with being the center of attention. So this is going to be difficult for me, dealing with scars and all kinds of crazy stuff. But I appreciate everybody being here tonight. And I know a lot of people were excited to see here. We're going to talk week 6, week 7. And, God, there's some big news still out. It's like we can't get away from realignment even when we try to. It's pretty insane. So we'll be talking about it a little bit more later in the show. I want to welcome the Wild Ute, Moen, and Daniel Gygax, this is me speaking new. The guest host here has been covering for me for a couple weeks. How you guys doing tonight?
Outstanding. Happy Tuesday night.
Oh, I love that. That's awesome. How about you, Daniel?
I'm ready to hear WVU's grade for the weekend.
Oh, okay.
He wants those Big 12 grades.
All right. Well, we will definitely get to those. How about you, Moen?
I'm happier than a three-legged possum in a potato patch, Bomber.
Moen, you cut your mohawk, my friend.
I did. The mohawk is gone. I went clean.
When you get up in the morning, are you thinking these things up? Did you just make that up this second?
No, that's a popular idiom in Appalachia.
Is it? All right. Yeah. Idiom or idiot? I'm not sure what you said there. Not sure I heard you right. Boy, crazy week in football, right? This last weekend was absolutely insane. If for no other reason than me and Wild Ute were literally on pins and needles because we had nothing to cheer for. I was going through like DDTs, I think. I was having major withdrawals, not having a game being played. How did you deal with that last weekend, Ute?
Yeah, I went outside for the first time in a long time, doing some hiking, got ready, mentally ready, absorbed that loss that Utah took and everything. Yeah. Absorbed the shots that kept coming in and ready for week 7 now.
Anybody taking shots at Utah, that's bad bets. I would not do that. I don't know what you're doing if you're doing that. And I'm just telling you right now, Kyle Whittingham's teams do not quit. So this Utah team could easily go 11-1, and that's bottom line. We'll talk Big 12 grades here in a bit, but Utah should not be counted out of any stats. I don't care what you're talking about. Give us a quick update on your show last night. You guys talked Big 10, Moen. What was the one thing that stood out to you most? I like that Washington beat the crap out of Michigan.
That was pretty much the consensus. Becky and Pickles for obviously selfish reasons.
Right.
But me for also selfish reasons. I just love to watch Michigan lose.
Yeah, I think that's okay. Sharon Moore looks lost. Can we just say that again? I think he's just there, a placeholder. They get past the fines and the whatever happens to them, he's going to be gone. He doesn't even look like he's coaching that team. I don't even know what's going on with the quarterback position. Anyway, Michigan's sort of an empty vest. How are we doing out in West Virginia land, Daniel? What did you think about West Virginia this weekend?
Probably the best game I've seen WVU play since last year's, sorry to say this, BYU game.
Yeah, no, that game was a beatdown. It was ugly. Yeah. For sure.
What was it? West Virginia had 389 yards. Nobody knows what happened to Ollie Gordon.
He doesn't look the same, does he?
No. I think as a team, they had less than 70 yards rushing for Oklahoma State. It was ugly.
And you guys played them. What did you think about that? Because I was shocked that he hasn't shown up.
It's surprising to see Oklahoma State struggle the way they have. Ollie Gordon's been bad all season. He appears to be injured now from the WVU game, and West Virginia just housed Oklahoma State from the very beginning. But gosh, just a couple of weeks ago when Utah was going into Stillwater, they were a top 15 team.
Yeah.
Then when Arkansas just beat Tennessee. Like, it's just craziness out there. They look like the worst team in the Big 12 today. But as we've seen in this conference, they might flip it around and rip off 5 wins. Who knows? Like, it doesn't seem like that's going to be the case. But I'll tell you that West Virginia is one of the most dangerous teams in the conference 100% right now. Like, you're sitting there, you ate 2 out-of-conference losses, you were forgotten and everything, you're undefeated in Big 12 play. This is a dangerous team that can make it to the Big 12 championship, really like a serious contender. And I think that the story needs to be more about West Virginia coming up here.
Well, go ahead, Daniel. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, the next 3 that WVU has in Morgantown against Iowa State, in Morgantown, K-State, and then they have to fly to Tucson for Arizona. That Arizona team, a couple games I've seen them, I don't know what happened. Well, K-State and Iowa State are going to be very difficult outs. They just look – Rocco Becht, probably the most impressive quarterback in the Big 12 right now.
So let's talk, and I didn't bring up the link. I know it was been traded over the last week or so, certainly around in BYU parts because they were at the top of it. But the strength of record news stat that they're starting to track at Fox and ESPN, I find it extremely interesting. You describe how you have this situation where BYU is really the only team that's played 2 ranked teams, but both teams continue to be good, right? This Arizona team's coming in is extremely dangerous. I really wish we were playing Oklahoma State next, to be honest with you. But we have Fox coming in town this weekend, and those don't always turn out great. So getting past Arizona is going to be a thing, but you're going to go up against an Iowa State team that's extremely dangerous, and BYU has to play those guys in Iowa. And then you have to play Arizona on the road. And you're going to be playing at like 1 a.m. your time. So those are very difficult road trips.
Of course. I mean, it would not shock me if the 2 teams in Arlington are both 9-3. That's just the way the league is right now. I mean,
I don't know that we're going to get to 9-3. I think you could have a couple 10-2s.
Yeah, I think some 10-2s as well. I mean, your point. I mean, maybe you get 1 3-loss team,
right?
Possibly. I mean, like, it's going to be a grinder though. Like K-State coming to Morgantown, this Iowa State coming into town and stuff. I don't even know the spread to that game. It's got to be almost a push though. I would figure.
I would think too.
Last I looked, it was 4 to Iowa State.
I would almost,
which is a touchdown then.
Yeah, like that line comes down actually before kickoff.
Yeah.
That's a super dangerous game for Iowa State. To have to go into Morgantown, all the attention's on the Cyclones.
Yeah.
All of it. You're the top-ranked Big 12 team. There's a new pressure that comes with that. And the expectation with that.
And Rocco Becht's dad is being inducted into the WVU Hall of Fame.
That's interesting.
Anthony Becht.
Wow.
Yeah, he was
okay.
Yeah, Anthony Becht's that weekend. Yeah.
No way. No way. Really?
Yes.
That is crazy timing. Well,
so he's going to be wearing probably a half WVU shirt, half Iowa State, whatever, for his son.
I think what we're seeing is what we discussed at the beginning of the season. There's you could have 4 or 5 teams fighting to get 2 spots in that college into that championship game for the conference. So it's fun talking Big 12. This is why we're here. We're doing this in the wider world in college football. Upsets left and right. I went to bed thinking Miami lost. Thank goodness they came back to win. Does anybody want to say anything about these games before we sort of move on? I'm going to do shout outs after I do this really quick. But yeah, does anybody even want to talk Alabama at all? Does anybody even want to talk Tennessee?
What's your thoughts on these upsets, Moan?
Well, Alabama screwed me. Thank you, Alabama. Cal didn't come through. There were some bad calls in that game. I know Rock and Rant wants to focus on the calls that benefited Miami, but yeah, there were some bad calls in that Cal-Miami game. I went to bed when it was 35-10.
Yes.
And I woke up and they lost 39-38.
Yeah.
And I had them on the money line in like 3 parlays.
Oh my gosh. That wouldn't have been a game I would have bet. Because
I know you
Miami's
wouldn't have.
coming cross country and
Well,
you
I
know.
had Cal.
Okay.
So I had Cal. I thought Cal was going to pull it off, and they should have pulled it off.
Right.
That lineman was damn near in the back of the end zone by the time he threw that ball.
It's true.
He got there though. How about anything about Alabama or Tennessee? The Tennessee game, I think, was more telling than the Alabama game. I think the Alabama game they just overlooked. They didn't even take Vanderbilt for real. But the Illinois, the Tennessee game was.
I think Alabama has some serious problems. It was exposed by Georgia the week prior.
Yes.
They got up 31-0 and let Georgia get back into that game and take a lead.
Right.
That should have been a warning to Kalen DeBoer that he needed to coach up the defense or figure out new defensive schemes, some substitutions. They look terrible on defense. I haven't seen an Alabama team with a defense that bad. I can't remember. It's been that long.
Shula.
So is Texas the best team in the country?
No, Ohio State.
Well, I think that's going to come down to decide this weekend. I think Oregon and Ohio State play, and whoever wins that game should be number one. Is the best team in the country. Should be number one.
Don't sleep on Oklahoma. Oklahoma beating Texas.
That's this weekend.
Weird things happen at the Cotton Bowl.
Right. The Red River Shootout is this weekend, and we obviously know historically. I think I saw something on Twitter that said 44 of those games have had both teams ranked, which is the most in college history, which is extraordinary if you think about it. Those two teams, the history between them. But I think Texas better watch out. I think Texas, this could be one of those where Oklahoma D's up, plays consistent defense, and actually can beat Texas. I think this is a sneaky, scary game against Texas this week. So, all right. Anyways, let's do some shout outs and then we'll get to the Big 12 breakdown. All right. First in the house is Ryan Willie. Good to have you here, Ryan. Hi, College Football Mafia. Thank you very much. I'm going to apologize right now if I start to stutter and my tongue gets in the way. I'm just getting used to it, okay? Antoine Codes says, hi, College Football Mafia. That AI-generated photo is looking really creepy. Lol. Moen, can you do something about that?
Yeah, that's AI, man. Sometimes it just puts heads where they don't belong.
Okay. Buckshot Kid checks in number 3, says, oh, hey, the College Football Mafia. Thank you very much for being here, Buckshot Kid. Mr. Ed Wayner. Hello, everyone. My Houston Cougars, for once, didn't have a problem. Houston. Boy, oh, boy. Houston. I don't know what to do with Houston. I really don't. We'll talk about that anyway. Conundrum. The Big 12, ACC, and G5 will become indentured servants to the SEC and Big 10. Sounds about right. I don't know that that's true.
I don't agree with that either, actually.
Yeah,
I think that's the world we're living in today.
Yeah.
But the Rudy idea, that we'll get into and stuff. I think
we're going to do news after this.
Quality actually with that.
And what's interesting about it, two things. I was telling Daniel this pre-show is, one, Bob Thompson didn't immediately come out and say, this is nonsense. It's another one of these, West Virginia and Syracuse ideas, and nobody from a big area, certainly the Big 10 or the SEC, is saying, we're going to make this run. The one thing that runs it is money, though. And $9 billion over 5 or 6 years, that's a lot of money. And if you partner with media companies, now all of a sudden you're not in contention. I don't know. Lots of possibilities there. Illini Ted checking in saying, good evening, all. Good to have you here, Illini Ted.
Mm-hmm.
Marcus Williams, congrats, Bomber. Glad to see you. Thank you very much. I'll pause right now and give everybody my health update. No cancer, right? That was the number one thing. Went in and got thank you. Went in and got gutted like a trout. And I'll show everybody. I got a scar here, right here, that goes all the way from the tip of my chin to behind my ear. You can't even see it. It's all the way down and all the way up. It's not very comfortable. And I've got some pain and residual stuff associated with it, but took out 45 lymph nodes. I don't know if that matters to anybody, but not one of them had cancer in it, which was a huge win. Huge win. And I really, really appreciate all the support I got from the community. You guys are awesome, and actually helped me get out of bed to do this tonight, is because I was looking forward to being with you guys. So I really appreciate all the support that everybody's been giving us, and all I can do is just be very humbled and be thankful for where we're at. Lonnie Johansson checking in, has been a member for 8 months. Lonnie, thank you so much. Since you've been around, things have been better here. Go BYU and UAU and go Big 12. Yep.
Hey.
I don't know about you, but are you starting to get into the cheering for the Big 12? Thinking about these schools against other conferences. I started doing that last year, and I can tell you, the world changes for you, doesn't it?
It does. You have to do it. It's best for your schools to root for your conference against other schools, especially versus the ACC. I'm like, sorry to say that and everything, ACC folks, not. It's a complete war. It's a zero-sum game. We're looking to take you out. So that is what it is. Go Big 12, downfall of ACC.
Right now, they're a 3-team league. So I don't even know how you could go from there. The Big 12 goes 6-7 deep. Mm-hmm. So it's not a negative. That's something else I want to bring up. And Daniel, you can chime in on this too. Everybody says this is a bad thing that the Big 12 is going to beat each other up. I think with the CFP, I don't think it's that way anymore at all. Thoughts?
My thought is you've got a lot of very, very talented teams towards the top. Probably 6-7 of them. Put those names in a hat. You can pull them out, and you can give a great reason why they're in Arlington at the end.
Right.
The problem is, you're going to have a little bit of beating each other up. But I don't think that that's really a bad thing, because whenever I'm trying to remember who had it, but they were showing like strength of conferences, like SEC 1, Big 10 2, Big 12 3, and then like really wide gap down to the bottom.
Right.
So also the other thing is that the Big 12 played smart out of conference.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that's right.
Granted, not always successful. Look at Penn State review, but they were smart playing out what they picked out of conference.
Right.
And a lot of it was, I'm trying to remember who it was that was commissioner, basically said, we want everybody playing 2 power teams. We want strength of schedule, strength of schedule, strength of schedule.
Right.
Just to make, and a lot of that had to do with whenever TCU and Baylor got left out of the CFP.
Right. Well, now it's paying dividends. I think that's what we're seeing, and it's system wide. Utah and BYU, I guarantee, are not going to shirk playing good out of conference teams.
No,
not at all. In fact, I think the Utah States might go away. I think the Weber States, might be, or Southern Utah might be the only game. And then we're out there and we're playing, what do you think about that? Do you agree with that?
And that's the Rudy proposal. That's exactly what it's saying. It's only A4 schools play each other.
Right.
And maybe Oregon State and Wazoo are joined in that. But it's just kicking out other games because they're not as valuable to media companies to air, right? It's all about viewership. Right. It's all about ad revenue. I mean, it's all about money. And so, we're going to a world where that's going to happen. And that might be in the form of like 10 conference games. That might be in form of the Rudy proposal. Where
let me bring that up really quick. So while you're talking, you can refer to it. Go ahead.
But you got to be really, really nervous if you're in the G6 right now. And this proposal just came out, and like this has gotten some steam and everything. Not to say it's a done deal by any means, but gosh, like basically it's cutting you out of major college football. If you're in the A4, it's great, especially if you're in the Big 12 or the ACC, because it gives you even more of an even playing field and an opportunity to get promoted up into a higher realm of college football if you perform. So that's fantastic. It's different than it is today, where you're basically just in the B league and you're not in the A league. But if you're in the G6, this blows 100% sucks. There's nothing good about this at all because your Utah States, your Boise States are completely screwed. There's no way to get out of like that purgatory that they're in because you're not going to be playing any of the big boys. There might be a playoff spot for you or not. We'll have to see, but really screws those schools in the G6.
Again, referring to what Bob Thompson said, and I actually have his tweet, so let's not take him out of context. Bob saw that, had a lot of people tweet at him. I did as well. Not surprising, these plans are hitting the street now. College sports are seen in peril by smart money people. They smell opportunity. I'll leave it at that until I see the actual proposal. I still think 70 is too big, but this quote is telling. And then this is the thing everybody needs to focus on. An upfront infusion of $5.3 billion in private capital, borrowed from future media revenues would provide schools immediate cash during a 3-year transition period, which is what we've always been concerned about in the past, helping them buy out non-power opponents and supplementing their annual television distribution. And Moen, this is where you can comment. So the idea that we've spoken about before is that it's a great idea if you can get everybody unified, confederated under one window, but there's no way you're going to get Purdue to give up 1 cent of money. You're not going to get a Vanderbilt to give up any money. The only way that you can make this work is if you true it up and everybody else is actually raised to those levels rather than those other schools going down. Is that how you read that?
Listen, this is named Project Rudy for a reason. And Jack Swarbrick has signed on to this for a reason. This entire plan is designed to allow Notre Dame to remain independent and up their media valuation. You look at the teams that are listed that are going to be making $250 million. Notre Dame is one of them.
Right.
They get to keep their independence.
Right. You see if I can. Did this article have that? Oh, here we go. Right here. So according to the proposal, and then you can continue, Mo, and I was just going to give a reference point. According to the proposal, school-by-school distributions would skyrocket. Let me get all the thing highlighted, actually. Okay. According to the proposal, school-by-school distributions would skyrocket. Cash that presumably would be used to help sustain Olympic sports, something administrators contend is threatened by the advent of revenue sharing. However, the revenues would be allotted unequally. Project Rudy separates the 70 programs into 3 tiers. Tier 1, the top 16 schools earn per school revenue projections from $130 million in year 4, which is ridiculous money, escalating to $250 million a year in year 12, double the SEC and Big Ten's current distribution rate. So there's a benefit for the Ohio States. Mm-hmm. There's a benefit for the Georgia. There's a benefit for the Alabama. Tier 2, the next 22 schools, and this is where you go from 16 to 22, where we've been talking valuations, right? And brand value. What drives that number? I don't necessarily say immediately that's the rest of the SEC and the Big Ten, right?
No way.
We're talking about the ones that have the most media presence, the
100%.
most media value. And that's now the top 40 schools are in tier 1, tier 2.
No way. And Northwestern is not going to end up in tier 2, at least eventually. They might at the inception, but they'll go a tier down to tier 3. And same thing for your Indianas and a lot of your other schools in the Big Ten and the SEC, your Mississippi States, your Vanderbilts. They are not tier 2 type schools. Your Florida States, your Miamis might be tier 1, tier 2 type schools and everything, but it's all going to be based on your valuations, your eyeballs that you get on your program and everything. So we're all going to that way. This is so anti-milking in a lot of ways. It's actually kind of refreshing to see. We're just acknowledging the worth of each school rather than paying a Vanderbilt like a king when they're really not a king.
Right.
And so this kind of just eliminates that and say you earn it on your own merit. Hey, if you're Ohio State, we realize that. You can be locked into your spot in tier 1. And for cost certainty for the media rights companies, we'll keep you in that no matter what. That makes sense to me, guys, because that is a huge brand that's going to draw eyeballs. They want them in the biggest type of league. They should be in the biggest type of league. And so this makes a lot of sense. This is the best idea so far that we've seen. 70 teams seems like too many, though. I spoke last week. I think it's going to be 40 teams, 32 to 40. If you carve this thing up and make it and eliminate it in half, you can do the same type of idea, but split the money and distribute a lot more even. to school. So I have a fear that this thing is going to get reduced down quite a bit still.
But the thing is, you also, I don't see the SEC signing off on this. They pretty well last week said, don't call us anymore because we don't like them. Haven't heard anything really from the Big Ten on any of these proposals. I think a lot of it is the Big Ten's like, don't bother us. We're not signing on to these.
I think the thing that we need to take into consideration is this is third party, right? This isn't being generated by the G6 and everybody left out. It's not being generated by Big 12 SE or ACC refugees that are really afraid they're going to drop out. Like we got, what was that even last week? We got that from the Syracuse and West Virginia president. That whole proposal. I just read that and I was in my bed reading that and I was like, oh, come on now. This is no way, right? Because you're not going to have any of the bigger schools to have any incentive to sign on. Right here, you're promising a lot of money to some very valuable brands, and I there might be building blocks there.
You don't go after the concurrence of the Big Ten or the SEC. Right. No way. Sankey, Petiti will never sign on to this because it's their own failure if they blow up their own conference.
Right.
And they lose their football brands. You go after Ohio State, Bama, Michigan. What do you think they're doing right here? Say $250 million, Ohio State. This is a plucking of the premier brands. That's the focus here is on the school and not the conference. Forget the conference. The Big Ten is completely irrelevant out of this conversation. It's all about going after the brands. And so really Petiti and Sankey, they're going to fight tooth and nail, say everything. This is the worst idea ever because it impacts them 100% in their legacy. This is horrible for the SEC and the Big Ten, especially if you're like intermediate, low level. This is absolutely dreadful, horrible. But guess what? This is fair too in the scope of all of college football.
What's the value of Kentucky?
Ask Navigate.
Yeah. I mean,
that's the thing. What's the value of Kentucky? What's the value of Mississippi State?
Right.
What's the value of Arkansas? Sure. Those are, and would they take that pay cut? No way.
They wouldn't, but it really is not up to them. At the end of the day, if Bama and Georgia say, I'm signing on this, they're screwed anyway. Right. They are a prisoner of the top brands in their conference. It's not really even the SEC strong. It's the top 5 or 6 brands strong. If Texas and Bama say, we're going to go over here for $250 million, what's Mississippi State going to do? Oh yeah, we'll stay in the SEC. It's going to be completely diluted.
Now here's the other question. Bringing up Alabama. Usually they'll play like a G5 or FCS the weekend before the Iron Bowl.
Okay.
Along with a lot of other schools in the SEC. Not playing those schools now, basically those pay games you get whenever you do your season ticket package, you pay for X number of games.
Right.
So now you're sitting there looking at that season ticket package and you don't have that cupcake on the schedule that is costing you not that much money to bring in. Because now you're going to have the revenue share for everything.
But this is literally different. What we're talking about here is you're breaking this off, and this is primarily football only.
Yes.
Right. If you go to this model, it's 70 teams. It's a football league, and they're playing each other. And it doesn't matter who you are. Each one of them has access to the same resources, and just go out and play, do the best you can. And you no longer have to play anybody that isn't a Power 4 conference. No longer have to play them. So everybody has to play those. Everybody has to play those other schools.
I see politicians getting involved if they say, like, I'm going to just bring up Ohio State and the MAC teams that are in the state of Ohio. Even though it's not on paper saying you have to play them, they play them anyway.
But you can always cut them a check.
They're not going to just cut them a check and not play them.
Sure they can. For $250 million, absolutely. You can write a check. Here's $1 million. Go support your football program. It is charity. At that point, it is charity.
It's charity right now, too. Let's be honest about that.
Really is.
But the thing is, at least they're doing something to where they're saying, okay, bring in Kent State, bring in Akron, whoever. But now cut a check to Akron with them not showing up to play football. At least they'll get one win out of it. At least they'll get something out of it, and that's a win.
I just don't think.
Yeah. I'm not sure that you owe Akron anything.
Yeah, I don't think
you're Ohio State. You got to take care of your own university. Like, why are you concerned about Akron? Like, I mean, that's nice that you played them in the past, but if your media companies say, "Hey, that's not worthwhile for us to put on TV anymore,"
yeah,
if you want this money, you got to play big boys, and there's no more cupcakes.
That's right.
The world of cupcakes and inflated wins losses is over.
Yes,
like you're in a absolutely strong NFL type pro power league, super league, and that's what we're talking about right here. In some ways, it's kind of nice, to see like big time games every week, all the time.
Right.
But if you're Akron, if you're in the G6, this is an absolute deuce, guys. This is devastating beyond anything we've ever discussed. This is, I'll be fighting this tooth and nail. Absolutely. Because you're cutting out of major college football completely.
Marshall went up to Ohio State, 2 weeks ago, got a $1.5 million check and 2-hour bus ride. So cutting out those games, now all of a sudden, let's say Marshall now has to play nothing but the people in the Sun Belt, maybe pick up a MAC game. That's going to hurt the bottom line horribly.
Not really. In my opinion, I don't think that's true. You just give them the money and then they go play. They'll get their own tournament. Anybody that's not in this top 70, they'll create a second league. One master league. It's going to do the exact same thing.
Is it going to be?
Well, it's not top flight football.
Nobody's
going to argue
but
it.
Is it still going to be the same amount of money like the bowl? You're basically giving up all the bowls now to do this tournament. Is it going to be the same amount of money?
Well, I don't know. If you have 70 teams, how many bowl games at the end of the year if everybody goes to a bowl game?
That'd be 35.
That's a lot of bowl games. So I don't know. You may be right. I may be crazy. I just don't know where we're going to go with it. It's going to take time. The media deals that we have now
that's another story completely.
Are 5-6 years. We're looking 30-31, right? We're not going to see anything major probably before then. Anyway, any other notes on this before we move on, guys? Anything else
last
you want to say?
thought, like if you're a Big 12 supporter, this is fantastic. This proposal is absolutely fantastic. Gives you a chance to even get up to the tier 1 type of money in league, whereas there's no possibility today. So it's actually a huge opportunity for schools like in the Big 12 and the ACC. If you're a middling Big 10 SEC school or less, it's horrible. You hate this because you can get relegated down to the tier 3. And if you're outside in the G6, this is the worst thing of all. But really, there is opportunity here for a lot of schools to move up and actually become powers in college football and competitors. Whereas in the structure made today, there's not as much. So I like this. As a Ute fan, as a Big 12 fan, this is great. I support it 100%.
Yeah, I'm with you. I completely agree.
I hate it.
As a West Virginia fan,
I know you hate it, Moen.
Of course you do, Moen.
It's a disaster for the Big Ten. Why would you give up autonomy and everything else for a little private equity money?
No, it's not for the money.
Little private equity money? Double?
It's the competition.
Well, that's double,
Moen.
but we don't know what the deal is going to be. They're saying that a 12-year deal, it'll be $250 million. Who's to say the Big Ten can't go out and get that in 2031?
Let's just play some football. Let's just play football. Who cares about? I'm tired of talking media deals.
Okay,
You do one umbrella league, and everybody goes plays football games.
Moen, okay, say that you like your company you're working for today and stuff. Hey, it's a great company and everything, but someone comes and offers you double. It's like, oh, there's a little uncertainty there. I don't know exactly what it's going to look like, but I can make freaking double. Really? You're going to say, oh, I'm so comfortable here. I like my old company I've been with forever.
Here's the difference, I'm my own boss. You're asking me to come give up my own company where I'm my own boss, set my own hours?
Nobody's
asking to go do something for double. That's what you're asking the Big Ten to do. You're saying give up your autonomy, let private equity make decisions so your top brands can get the most money and your lower brands get UGOTs. So
what's going to drive the solution on this is what is the final goal? Is it to get the best brands playing the best football games, the best TV, the best college football that you could put on the air? Something like this will win. If it is autonomy and people are talking kingdoms and principalities and their school and Louisiana Monroe playing Alabama just for a charity game, that's a whole different conversation. And I find it hard to believe that we're going to be standing still in 6 years and everybody's going to be just looking around going, yeah, let's just do another media deal.
I don't think we're going to be standing 6 years still in 6 years, Bomber. I think that there's going to be more consolidation. I think one of the power leagues is going away.
I think Ute and I agree with you. I don't know about Daniel, but Ute and I agree with you.
Yeah.
All right, let's do some more shout outs. We got a bunch of people that have come on. I really appreciate everybody being here tonight. Rock and Rant checking in. I'm going backwards just so nobody panics. Rock and Rant, obviously contributor, very valuable member of the College Football Mafia Network. Appreciate it. Plus, his show with Flo on Thursday nights is fantastic. If you're not watching it, please follow Rock and Rant on Twitter and watch his shows Thursday night. They are great. He says, wow, they let anyone on this show go. Guess who's back? Back again. Bomber's back. Tell a friend. So is BYU. I couldn't come up with the tune in my head. Otherwise, I would guess who's back? Back again. Great to see you back, Nate. Thank you very much, Rock and Rant. Appreciate it, Glenn. You're a great friend. I appreciate you checking on me. Seriously, those texts you sent me, some of those, and everybody, I got a bunch of them, really pulled me out of some dark places in the last little while. Lonnie Johansson, $5 super chat, is also a great member. Thank you, Lonnie. Says, what Big 12 games are you looking to watch this weekend? All right, Ute, kick it off. Yep. Let's go. Let's do the Big 12.
We're gonna rate week 6, or we're gonna talk about week 7 here.
No, let's go. Well, let's go. I'll leave it up to you. You can do whatever you want.
Okay, so I think that some of the exciting games here, Iowa State and West Virginia is one of the key games, I think, for the Big 12 Conference. Arizona State and Utah. Actually, Arizona State, that's going to be a heck of a football game. So those are 2 big-time games. And then, of course, Arizona BYU. I think those are the 3 biggest games of the week for the Big 12 teams. What do you think, Daniel?
Hold on. I would say the WVU Iowa State is easily the biggest game of the weekend, but I'm biased.
That's okay. You can be biased here. That's fine. Do you think West Virginia has a chance?
Yeah.
Boxer's chance. Puncher's chance.
Yeah. I really do, because West Virginia's defense has looked really good. The offenses look, or I should say defensive lines looked really good. The offense has looked really good. They're running the heck out of the ball.
Right.
The secondary is still questionable.
Yeah, that's one thing Oklahoma cannot do is throw the ball. Oklahoma State cannot throw the ball. That's a classic example. Let's talk Oklahoma State really quick. Sorry, I have to do this. Oklahoma State, to me, is the exact same as Cam Rising at Utah. You keep these guys around. They have this institutional knowledge. They're this hard workers. They're tough. They'll put their head in and fight and all these other things. Meanwhile, you got a lot more athletic, younger players coming in behind them. And I think you're seeing these teams that are starting to ride these guys a little too long. And I'm on the outside looking in at these 2 schools, but that's what it looks like to me. Oklahoma State doesn't have a quarterback. And now Utah is training a quarterback. I mean, what do you think about that?
Utah's soul right now is being compressed and squeezed and everything. And Ute Nation, it's all about the chatter is, what's the deal with Rising? Like, truly, is it just like a joint injury in his finger? It appears so. But like the big conversation being had today is that if Cam Rising cannot play on Friday night versus Arizona State, will he be the starter going forward? I'm serious, guys. Like, I am still supportive of Rising and everything, but I feel like he needs to play in this game. Half the season's over after this game. Guys, there's 52 days remaining in the regular season. There's 52 days. That's it.
Crazy.
Regular season football. When's Cam Rising coming back if it's not on Friday? The bye week just happened. I don't care if his finger's 70%. Throw him out there. If he can't do it during the game, put Wilson in. He's got to go. But, like, a lot of the chatter is, hey, he's going to sit out for a few more weeks until the Holy War. We're not going to roll Cam Rising out during the Holy War.
That's what I heard as well.
That's insane. You're not going to do that? Yeah. Like, he's going to be rusty. He's played 1 game in 2 years.
Yeah.
That's just not going to work. So he needs to play Friday night. I don't know if he will or not. Nobody does. Wilson's getting all the reps in practice, but right now in the U communities, it's just a battle on what's the soul of Utah, who's the quarterback for Utah.
And what about this existential crisis that I see these schools keeping these grad transfer guys or even grads that never left the school on staff? Tyler Shaw at Louisville is another one. I mean, it's like they they're not going to the NFL. Nobody's going to pay them to play Sundays. So they're getting as much of money as they can, NIL, right? And I'm seeing some big holes in offensives that are relying on some of these players. Oklahoma State by far is the worst example you could come up with.
They're in trouble. They've got a kid named Zane Flores that's on their bench as quarterback. They liked him in the preseason, but they won't play him. So they're just playing these two quarterbacks, Bowman and the other guy, and it's a mess over there. But Oklahoma State has so much talent on that team. I'm telling you guys, as bad as they've looked, they've done this before in the past. They can easily flip this thing and get it rolling again. I don't know if Gordon's going to play or not. I'll be shocked to see them be this bad for the rest of the season because they've been horrendous.
Right. I don't know their schedule. I know they come to Provo though, and I'm waiting for that game
on a Friday night.
Friday night game, late. It's like auto win for the Cougars. You play Friday night in Provo. It's all over. All right, let's do some more super chats here. Sergeant Pickles, another contributor. What's he doing here giving us a super chat? Thank you so much, Pickles. Love seeing you, Bomber. Doing well in the gang. Back together. Go Dogs. Yep, go Dogs. I was cheering. I watched the whole Washington game. That was a lot of fun. Sarge, checking in from Florida. Now, why are you you're re-upping as a YouTube member, and I really appreciate that, Sarge, but you got a family. You guys he's in the path of this next hurricane in Florida, and I'm praying for you, Sarge.
Yeah, Sarge, family. Okay, tell us you're out of Tampa, please. Because I know the evacuation's going on. This is no joke at all. You know that. So let us know that you're okay.
Yeah, please do that. Plus, he has his grandkids. He had this disaster with his car wreck and his was his son and daughter-in-law. I can't remember, but yeah, their family's going through a lot of trouble. So your membership, Sarge, right now to me today is platinum gold. Thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate it and your loyalty. You've been here from the beginning, and we really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Let's see. I think no, we got more super chats. Let's get to the rest of these. Stormy Cyclone checking in. Good to see you, Stormy. Miss you guys. Well, miss you too. $5 super chat saying keep the lights on. Thank you so much, Stormy. That does help us.
Big time game this weekend. It's the premier game in the Big 12. One game we forgot, K-State Colorado is a big game too. It's going to be an exciting one. But I think that this Iowa State West Virginia game is massive implications. Getting this tiebreaker in some of these games, it could loom large down the line.
I agree.
Between Iowa State and West Virginia. And some games are elimination games. If you eat two Big 12 losses, it might be an elimination game. Utah might be in a position where they have to win, right? They cannot eat two conference losses. So there's a lot on the line for a lot of teams. It's exciting, though.
Really, really appreciate that. Go ahead.
I'm hoping it goes down to the coin flip.
No. Coin flips suck. Nobody wants to coin flip win. Moen, what is this?
We gifted 5 memberships to the College Football Mafia. Those went to Dallas Marquez, Les Austin Jr. We're going to have to change out where you can't gift memberships to Michigan fans. MGC Sooner, Rory McNamara, and Terry Kane were all gifted memberships. Thank you guys
so much, guys.
Members of the community, welcome to the College Football Mafia family. You are now members.
Yes, thank you so much. Make sure you're checking out. I know we're not featuring them during the season, but our library is deep on realignment, on all kinds of talk specials we put together. Lots of times, thousands of hours in production. Go to those membership videos on the main College Football Mafia Network page and watch them. There's plenty of stuff you can learn, and as realignment continues to move, we're going to add more content there. You want to add anything to that?
Absolutely not. I think you just nailed it and everything. After the season, more realignment videos. During the season, we're going to focus on the football matchups and grades. We're going to get to grades because there's been some fails.
Okay, let me get to
world.
3 more super chats and then you can take over.
Yep.
All right. First one is from Sarge again, $10 super chat. Thank you so much, Sarge, for not only being a member, but giving us a $10 super chat. Greetings from Hurricane Central. Please be safe. That's all I can say, Sarge. Please be safe. Kerry Go Knowles, good to see you, Kerry. Florida State is having a difficult season, but you've always got my support. That's all you should know. Rudy, I'm all for the Super League to see Big Ten, SEC straight. Everybody needs to get behind Notre Dame on this. I didn't know it was Swarbrick. I didn't catch that in the note. So that's interesting that Swarbrick's behind it. And last but not least, certainly not least, is Earl Carr, longtime member, OG. Good to have you here, Earl. $5 super chat saying, Wild, I think it's beyond a joke now. Time to turn the team over to Wilson. I would have done Wilson last week.
Look, you guys, I get that from the outside looking in. Like inside, there's a love for Cam Rising because of what he's done for the youth program. And so we want him to be like, the savior of the program, like take us to the promised land kind of thing, right?
Right.
There's an absolute love for Cam Rising, and that's hard to go away and just turn it over to a freshman because the truth is, if you've got Isaac Wilson starting the rest of the year, this U team's not winning the Big 12.
That's true.
We said that before the season. That's a fact of reality. You're going to lose 3 or 4 games this year probably, right? But if you got Cam Rising, you've got a real shot at still getting to the championship game. So it's the difference between championship or not, possibly. There's a lot to go over here. It's not just an obvious decision, but he needs to play soon. 52 days left in the season. 52.
Last one, last super chat is Donnie McNerney, Ohio State, checking in. Good to have you here, Donnie. $5 super chat saying, keep up the good work, guys. Thank you so much, Donnie.
Thank you, Donnie.
Really appreciate it. All.
We have some sounders here, Bomber.
Please
so let
go.
me go on a sounder tear here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let's get a little drunk Joe in there.
I couldn't care less about the team struggling.
Give him a little Greg.
There we go. There we go.
They've been sucking you, and you're
Where's
sick
my
of
music?
it. I get it. You're a bad man, Moan. You're a bad man.
There's one other one I wanted to get
Bad
to.
man, Moan.
One other super chat.
Oh
Let me
my
see if
gosh.
I can grab it really quick. Oh gosh, I had it and I lost it. All right, we're gonna go straight to the Big 12 report cards. Let's go, you.
Report cards. Let's do it. All right. Who's on bye this week? The Cougars. After all the good grades to put up the last several weeks, bye week for Cougars, bye week for Cincinnati, bye week for Colorado, bye week for K-State, and bye week for Utah. Now let's get into the grades here. Who performed excellent? Mr. Gygax. Are you going to be happy about this? Yes, you will be happy about this. The West Virginia Mountaineers throttled the Oklahoma State Cowboys and got an A rating for it. Vegas said that Oklahoma State was supposed to win this game by 3 points, 34-31, and Oklahoma State got crushed 38-14. That's good for an A rating. Garrett Green looks good. West Virginia's defense looks really good. Man, the team's hot right now. Watch out, Cyclones. That's all I'm saying. Watch out, Cyclones. Let's move on here. Oh, my goodness gracious, the Houston Cougars. The Houston Cougars put up the most up and down grades. Week 2, B+, week 3, A, FFA. Like, you never know what you're going to get out of this team based on what we expect. We can't expect anything from them because apparently they could beat TCU. TCU, the team that 2 years ago got to the national championship on their home field, lost to the Houston Cougars on Friday night, 30-19. They were supposed to wallop them 34-18. I don't get it. Makes no sense. We're going to talk about TCU more. But good on you, Ed Wainer. Good on you, Houston. Good on all you Houston fans. Got a win and got an A rating. All right, let's look at the goods here. The B grades. So we're going to give a B+ grade to the Iowa Cyclones for taking care of Baylor. This game was a very close game, except in the middle of the fourth quarter, Iowa State ran away with it, but still beat expectations, beat Vegas point line, scored more than expected. So you know what? I'm going to give them a B+ grade. Look at the grades, though, for all year long. The Cyclones are playing good football. They're beating expectations almost every week. And so they're a well-coached, sound football team that's underrated. That's what that tells me, that they're underrated there. So, again, West Virginia, Iowa State is a massive game coming up this week. Texas Tech almost pooped this one away. They had a lead and everything. Taj Boyd's a stud, but he fumbled it twice. They still pulled it out, though, and they didn't get a C. They got a B- for going into Tucson and taking care of the Wildcats after the big win against Utah the week before. Arizona's supposed to win 34-29, and actually Texas Tech took it 28-22, and really kind of a back-and-forth game and everything, but B- grade for the Red Raiders. Now let's go here to the satisfactory grades. So we got a C+ for ASU. ASU pulled it out last minute versus KU. KU is a team that's just spiraling down. ASU is supposed to win this game 26-23. They won 35-31, basically exactly kind of what they were supposed to do. A little bit exceeded expectations, more points scored. So C+ grade, kind of average level for Arizona State, but this team's good. They're 4-1. They got a big one with the Utes this weekend.
Can I ask really quick
Yeah.
about Arizona State really fast? When I have watched them play, it seems like they actually get better at the end of the game. Has that been your observation too?
I think so, because of Scatterboo. Their running back for Arizona State might be best in conference up there top 3, certainly.
Right.
He is such a stud, and he's so physical. This Arizona State team used to be soft. Seriously, last year they were soft. In the past, they were soft. And they're building this thing the right way. Dillingham is a stud coach. I love everything they're doing, and they're in Tempe. And they're really building a physical football team. Scatterboo's the reason for that. You just pound the rock, and they're beating teams down late in the games. That's what we're seeing, and that's the culture they're building out there in Arizona State. So that really they're trying to Dillingham's made this comment before. He's trying to model the program off of Utah. He said,
"Oh, is that right?
Last year.
Okay,
and he's
that's cool.
In his own way and everything. He's kind of a quarterback whisperer, but he wants to be the physical teams like a BYU or Utah. So just expect that out of ASU going forward. All right, so KU C-, you barely lose. You should have pulled the game out versus Arizona State. You had it in the bag. Jalen Daniels played better, but still lost the game again. C-, you almost got that C grade and everything, but it's just been suck for the Jayhawks. Your favorite to lose. You lost. You had the opportunity to win. Disappointing loss, and I don't know what to do with this KU program.
They're becoming the KU of old.
They're too
Are
good
they though?
to be the KU of old.
Are they? I don't know.
The old KU was awful.
No, I know. No. I know that.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, are they really regressing, or is this a talent issue?
They've got talent on the roster. The problem is they don't have interior line talent. They've got a really good running back, Devin Neal. They have really good wide receivers and cornerbacks, and they've got a stud quarterback. Like, it doesn't make any sense whether they're losing football games. They got great coaching. I think the problem is this, Bomber. You know this. Jeff Grimes is their offense coordinator now.
Yeah, it's brutal.
That is the reason. Number one reason is the offensive coordinating sucks. Yeah. Grimes needs to be canned. And also, you probably need to look at a quarterback change. I know that Daniels is a stud and everything, but this season's over, guys. You're not in Big 12 contention anymore. You're just fighting for a bowl game. It's time to put somebody else in there and start fresh. That's the question I'd be asking Lawrence now.
Okay.
Crazy. All right, we're going to get the D grades here. The Arizona Wildcats, they couldn't get it done versus Texas Tech. You're at home. You had the big week before versus Utah where you got that win and everything. So just laid a stinker versus Texas Tech. You need to get that win. You're at home. D+ grade. Your favorite to win. You lost the game. We already talked about Texas Tech. They played a good game. But Arizona, I think, kind of blew this one. So D+ grade. Now, this one right here, I was considering an F.
I would give them an F. I think they did not play well.
This is the most disappointing 2-week stretch that I can remember in recent history for a football team in a conference I've been in.
Yeah.
UCF's demise from what we were talking about after week 3 and going into week 4 in their bye week. They had Colorado coming to town, big noon there, everything. This is the most exposure they had, and they threw an F performance in week 5 and got blown out by Colorado, and they were 17-point favorites. Then all of a sudden, we talked about one of the biggest non-conference games for the Big 12 all year was this UCF-Florida game. Because you got blown out the week before, they put this game on the SEC network. So that's what you get when you get blown out and stuff. You get put on non-Nielsen rated channels. So nobody was even watching this freaking game, which is crazy. The Vegas line still had UCF winning this game by a point. It's supposed to be close. But you just got out physicaled and beat down 24-13. Super disappointing. And like, what is UCF? Like they've over the last week and a half, they've had 3 or 4 players transfer out of the program.
Yeah.
Culture issues going on. I have no idea what's going on down there, but it is massively disappointing going into week 7. I'll tell you that.
And I agree with everything you just said. I am, everybody's been high on UCF coming into the Big 12 with a huge ceiling. That includes me. That includes you. A lot of our friends or peers that are out there. I see Daniel's putting his head up and down. But I think we did something wrong in just naturally assuming proximity will equal quantity, not quantity, quality. Right? Just being there, just being in Florida will be enough to give them the talent they need to actually begin to win. And I think what you're seeing here is without the right coach,
yes,
you can have all the talent you want in the world. And this guy has thrown talent away at bigger brands than UCF. And I just think he's mismanaging it. They're about to lose the entire team. The 3 guys who left were leaders. They were like sophomores, juniors. They're like, we're out of here. We have lives to do. We have dreams that we want to realize, and it's not sitting in UCF. So I think that there's bigger problems there, and the only thing that's going to fix it, in my opinion, is going to be eventual coaching change.
I think you're right, 100% about that. This is, for a UCF fan, this has got to really sting because you don't get too many shots at Florida.
Right.
That's like a massive brand in state. You never get to play them. And this was the year you're supposed to beat them.
That's
and
right.
You just got manhandled right after the Colorado game. I hope they can turn it around. I fear that they can't based on culture issues like you're talking about, Bomber. I don't know what Malzahn's doing down there, but it seems like something's off. We'll have to see what this team does down the line. They have Cincinnati this weekend. And I'm taking Cincinnati in that game. I don't care.
At home? They have Cincy at home?
I don't care where it's at. I'm taking Cincy in that game.
Okay.
But they need to turn things around fast because they're having issues, especially with the passing game, UCF. So let's move on here. So D- goes to Baylor for blowing a lead in the 4th quarter versus Iowa State. Your favorite to lose, but the way you lost, it just in the margin you lost by. How did you lose by 22 when you were leading late in the game? I don't get it. Like it's just crazy how that thing spiraled down. Aranda's probably going to get fired soon and everything. So Baylor's probably going to be looking for a new coach very soon here. Yep. Yeah, that's the summary on Baylor. All right, let's look at the fails. All right, the first fail goes to Oklahoma State in double Fs, guys. Week 5 and week 6. Way that West Virginia. You know what? Daniel, you speak to this game. Why don't you just tell everybody how this game went and why Oklahoma State deserves an F in this game?
Oklahoma State could not run the ball. They could not pass the ball. They could not defend the run. You name it, they were unable to do it. Just did not look good.
Wasn't this game over at halftime?
Not quite. But
it looked like it was from the scoreboard.
Pretty well was, but not quite. But Oklahoma State, Gundy usually always has a fight in his team, and they just had none. It looked like I wouldn't say didn't care, but they don't look like the Oklahoma State team from last year before that.
Okay.
They're just mailing it in. And Ollie Gordon came in. I thought the guy was going to rush for 2,000 yards. He ran for, I think it was 50 some. He's ran for less than 100 yards 2 weeks in a row. 100 yards total for 2 weeks in a row.
There's chatter that he might sit it out this season. I don't know if that's legit or not, but there was some comments about that. He had an injury.
I heard that too. But the thing is, if he sits out the whole entire year, that's game tape that NFL scouts won't have. He might end up getting picked up in like a 6th or 7th round, but it's not going to be a high pick.
He might stick around for another year if he's not going to be drafted in the first 3 or 4 rounds. I don't know what he's going to do. I don't know. Oklahoma
Something's
State's
off
the
in
most
Stillwater.
confusing team. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. I had them, Kansas State and Utah, all three fighting for and it seems like Oklahoma State sort of mailed it in. So
It sure does. All right, we'll move on here. Okay. Oh, this is the worst F of all. Sonny Dykes is not the answer. He was never the answer. He leveraged Gary Patterson's talent to get to the national championship.
Yep.
And like, this is the fruits of what he can do. He never did anything anywhere else that he's been. He needs to go as soon as possible. TCU is way too good to lose at home and absolutely get punked, by a Houston team that was struggling to score any points at all. And they put 30 up on you at home. There's just nothing else to say about that. I mean, if you're a TCU fan, you just got to be livid and confused and just shutting it down for the season, frankly. It's not looking good.
What was the bigger F, SMU or the Houston game? That's a big question I have because they looked awful against SMU too.
SMU's good. So I think there's the difference there. SMU is turning into a pretty good football team. So I think TCU. You said it. I think Dykes is going to be gone at the end of the season. He came in, took somebody else's players, ran with them, won, and then got a new contract. And then I think he's never been a huge winner. Where's he been where he's won outside of that one TCU year? I can't think of. He's always been in an AAC school. He's always been at a.
He was at Cal for a second.
Yeah. Cup of coffee at Cal. That's right.
The only reason why he was decent at Cal, he had Aaron Rodgers there.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
That was a long time.
Same thing with he did okay at SMU. Not great, not bad, just okay at SMU.
I'll tell you what TCU isn't, which they used to be. They used to be a physical football team.
They did. They were very mean.
And now they're soft.
Yep.
Like Utah's got them in a few weeks. I hope they bring it like they used to and everything because those were epic football games and everything. But from the outside perspective, it looks like they're soft.
Yep.
And that's just not TCU football. That's not their identity. They need to change.
And they don't look fast either. They used to fit. You could watch them on TV, and they look like they were running twice as fast as anybody else on the field. And they don't look quick either. They may be, but they don't look it. So
those are the grades.
Okay.
For week 6.
All right, Mo, and you've been silent. You're like the guy perched. You're like the little devil guy sitting on the edge at Notre Dame Cathedral looking down and saying, what's going on down there with that little Big 12? Thoughts on the Big 12 for this weekend?
The TCU issue is Garrett Riley was their offensive coordinator. Garrett Riley left to take the Clemson job, and outside of the Georgia game, Clemson has covered every spread this season. He has got the Clemson offense. He's got the Clemson offense clicking. So I think Garrett Riley was probably the architect of a lot of that success, that national championship game year for TCU.
Okay, so let's forget last week. That's done now. It's in the books. This weekend, looking ahead, is there anything that you want to really call out?
Coal Rush uniforms. Coal Rush uniforms are the new hotness in college football. If you haven't seen it
you should see all the everybody's converted their picture to a black and white picture.
Yes, we're going grayscale for the Coal
WVU
Rush.
Twitter.
It's I don't know. I'm not into the all whites, y'all. I just go with your school colors. I don't like these off colors. When BYU does anything but royal blue, it flips me out.
It's a way to sell more jerseys.
It's exactly what it is. They're following the Premier League and Oregon, and they want to sell as many jerseys as they can. That's exactly right. Yeah. All right. Well, that was what's that?
I might order me one of them Coal Rush jerseys.
Okay. Well, there you go. See,
nice.
I'll wear one if somebody wants to send me one. Send me a DM on Twitter. I'll wear it on the show. You send me a Coal Rush jersey, I'll wear it. I'll wear it every time West Virginia plays that we feature them. I'll do that. I'd be all right with that.
There we go.
All right. Let's see. Do we have any other super chats? So we don't. Is there anything else you guys want to cover really quick? I wanted to bring up one thing before we got into our world famous Q&A, and that's this Nicole Arbach tweet she put out right before the show. And here I am. overreaching with my tongue. You want to read that?
Yes, this is from Nicole Auerbach. Here are the dates for football players to enter the transfer portal this academic year. Per NCAA news, effective immediately, football notification of transfer windows will open for 30 total days, including 20 days after FBS Conference Championship weekend and 10 days in the spring. For the current year, those dates will be December 9 through 28 and April 16 through 25.
So it's down to 30 days from 45 days. That's the change there. So 45 days was egregious. And 30 days after a coach leaves is a joke too, I think. They need to fix that as well. But what did you guys think about this change? It's a minor change. It's not going to, affect the guys that are most in demand, but is 30 days enough in the calendar year for these guys to try to get NIL deals at other schools?
That December window will kill all
G5 schools.
Yeah, it'll kill all the G5s. It'll kill a lot of schools because if you've got, let's say that you're playing a bowl on the 18th or something like that, guy's gone. You're going to probably have a good chunk of roster, like talent on your roster, gone. Already hit the portal. The one that's in April, I don't mind that. I don't mind having one in April. And if it was me running college football, I would just have the one transfer portal in April, and that's it.
Okay.
Have a 30-day portal in April. None of this in December. None of this in January. It makes too big of a mess of all the ball games. I mean, Florida State, I can't remember how many they lost whenever they weren't into the playoffs, and their roster was shot, and they just got housed by Georgia.
Well, and that's the one that I don't understand that window. I've never understood the window that's up directly after the season, but during bowl season. Can you guys understand it?
Makes no sense to me. There's probably something with the academic calendar. But isn't this new news? The two windows. So we're talking about
no. They've always had two.
They've always had two.
They've always had two windows.
Yeah, but it was. Go ahead.
The second window was right after the basketball championship.
Yeah, I think that it's. I don't know as far as impact and everything. It's such a mess anyway. It's probably just going to continue being a mess with the NIL valuations, transfers, and everything. I mean, I know big time programs have a player valuation for a lot of the players they might be interested in that they recruit. And so, like, basically, you recruit a kid. If he goes somewhere else, you still have an NIL valuation for that kid. So if he ever hits the portal, you know immediately. So you basically never stop recruiting in essence. Like, you always have a value that you tag to a player. And that's how it goes. So you just have to do more due diligence beforehand in anticipation of it. Like, you have to have a full-on analytics staff doing that in the background for these major college football programs.
A lot of them have general managers.
Or they're getting them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are. And I think it's going to be a common position. They might have different titles. It might do different words. But there's going to be somebody that's going to be the czar of basically all NIL NIL valuations for players that you could potentially bring in.
That December window, let's say the NFL said, we're going to open free agency right as soon as the playoff starts.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
It would make things awful. No, just keep the one in April. That's whenever most NFL free agency happens. Just keep the one in April.
Yeah. How about we just get the NCAA out of all of it? Just have it open all the time.
It's time to give it up to the Rudy guys here.
Let's go, Rudy.
What's the private equity firm backing the Rudy proposal?
Smash.
It's the Smash Brothers time.
And what does that stand for, Moen?
So much ass.
Okay, that's what I thought you would say something.
Oh my
like
gosh.
That. Let's get to it. We got a 9-month comment here from Antoine Coates. Remember, been a member 9 months. Thank you so much, Antoine. ASU is doing a blackout Friday night. Go Devils. Yeah, whatever. do your cold rushes, do your blackouts, do your red outs, do your blue outs. I think they're all dumb.
I'll tell you this, Antoine, a lot of Ute communities and fans don't feel great about this game. For what it's worth, like, it's not like there's a lot of confidence coming into this one after the Arizona performance, especially if Isaac Wilson's the starter. It's going to be an absolute slugfest. It's going to be super close. So Friday night, baby. Friday night.
I can't wait. This weekend's going to be fantastic. All right, you guys want to get to Q&A? Let's do it, eh?
Oh, we got to do standings first.
Oh, please. Yeah, go ahead, Moen.
Picks for this week. Bomber finished 4-4. Wild Ute finished 4-4. Moen finished 3-5. That's because of Greg. Pickles finished 5-3. Becky finished 5-3. Rock finished 6-2. For the season, Rock is leading at 29-19, followed by Wild Ute at 28-20, followed by Pickles at 27-21, followed by Becky at 26-22, followed by Bomber at 25-23, and we don't need to pay attention to my score. I lost enough money.
23-25.
That's all we have to do.
All I'm saying is the last 6 weeks I've been under a lot of drugs. So all my picks, I have justification for being only 2 over 500.
The last 52 weeks I've been under a lot of drugs, guys. I just make bad picks. It has nothing to do with drugs.
I'm telling people not to follow your picks. That's what I'm saying. All right, everybody, let's jump right into Q&A. We appreciate everybody being here tonight. Quick reset. Follow all of us on Twitter, please. Make sure you're subscribing on our YouTube channel. It's very important. Try to get your friends and relatives to join that subscription with us. It really helps us grow the community, and we appreciate it. As many people as we can get the show in front of, they tend to like it if they do subscribe. So please.
And we're almost at 5,000 subs too. Like, seriously, we're trying to make a push to get to 5,000 subs.
Yes.
So, hey, just tell your friends, tell your family. Let's get to 5,000 here soon, guys.
Let's do it. I'm all for it. And then make sure you follow us all on Twitter. Like I said, look for our notifications for shows, which come on Twitter and on YouTube. And then lastly, don't forget to consider becoming a member of the College Football Mafia Network. We have all kinds of shows all week long, and we do all kinds of interactive stuff with members. And members are very important to us. So we want to shout out to all our members who continue to give us loyalty. And then for those that are considering joining, we really appreciate when you do that. It helps us keep the lights on. And, you fight through the season, and then you get to the silly season, which is starting in January. So we're looking forward to that. 50, how many days away, Ute, the end of the season?
52
That's
days.
Crazy. I just can't believe 52 days. That's nuts to
me. At least to like the last Utes game, so maybe 53, 54 for some programs.
Gosh.
But the end of the regular season, right? Yep.
So we're going to do world famous Q&A. It is world famous because I say it is. We're going to start with Joaquin Morales, resident ASU fan. Says, hey, Bomber, Wild Ute, Moen, Daniel, and College Football Mafia. Bomber, hope your recovery is going well. It is going well. It's painful, but it's going well. Stopped by to smash that like button. Thank you so much. Everybody, please smash the like button. I forgot to mention that. That really does help us, and it's free. It's right there. Just hit it. Taking care of Mama. We'll listen later. Thank you so much, Joaquin, for your time. We really, really appreciate it. Let's see here. Sarge says, I stopped following Moen. He is too mean. So I'm going to do this. Let's see here. Moen, you're too mean. Stop being mean. I mean, that's pretty simple. Okay.
No, I'm justified. I'm justified when I'm mean.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
What's the justification? I don't think there's ever justification to be mean. Here we go, Sarge. You mentioned it. If you want to do a live broadcast from the head of that hurricane, there's the link. Click on it, join us, and give us a remote. He mentioned it in the comments like he wanted to do it. So, okay, there we go. I put it out there. Click on that link, Sarge, and join us and tell us how things are going. To Townhawk says, if you had coordinators that were equally bad, but you can only replace one at a time, would you choose to replace offense or defense first? I'd like to hear panel's opinion. I'm still up in the air. I would replace the defense. And get the defense right.
100%.
This is based on the quality of talent you have around you. If you've got offensive talent, you replace that offensive coordinator. If you've got defensive talent, You replace the defensive coordinator. I think we talked about this briefly last night. Purdue's situation. They had a bunch of offensive weapons. They brought in a defensive guy, and look where it's landed them. Most of their offensive guys have transferred out. Their star cornerback is now, or star safety, who is the best safety in the Big Ten, is now redshirting his year.
Oh, geez.
I think you have to build where you have talent first.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I like defense wins championships. I like building from the defense out. I know that's where Ute is, and it looks like Daniel's there too. So, all right, we've got a live remote right now at the head of this monster storm, checking in a renewed member to the College Football Mafia Network. How are we doing, Sarge? Good to see you. Very, very good to see you.
Oh, it's pretty good here. For now, the storm's not going to be here till late tomorrow.
Right.
But all my shutters are up on my house. I don't know if you saw the pictures or not on Twitter, but
I didn't.
Yeah, I got them on there.
Okay.
So all our windows and everything are covered, so we're prepared.
How many of your neighborhood have evacuated? Give us a kind of a live
Maybe a
status.
handful.
Really?
Yeah. The only ones I know that evacuated out of my neighborhood for sure are across the street, and that's because they're Coast Guard and stationed in St. Pete, and the Coast Guard told them they had to leave.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. So how high are you guys up? Are you guys 50 feet above sea level? Where are you at now?
Maybe about that high, but we're about 15 miles inland still. So,
okay,
from the actual Tampa Bay.
So storm surge isn't something you're panicking about.
Nope.
Okay.
So you're gonna weather it out, Sarge, or you're not going anywhere?
No, not going because we had to work.
Yeah.
Work doesn't believe in letting us go.
Man.
Sometimes they let me work from home.
There you go.
And get prepared, but still.
Give us a little bit of feedback. You're in Florida. You're watching this. You see the angst on Ute's face about Utah. I mean, what are you thinking right now?
I'm really not. Honestly. Was I upset over the last game? Yeah, I was. But I don't lose sleep over it. It's just a game to me, even though I love my team.
Do you have an opinion on the quarterback at all?
Sarge.
No, I don't have an opinion on Cam at all. Okay. Let him heal. That's all I say. I don't think, unless he steps away himself, I don't think he's ever going to stop being the starter.
Man,
even if it's during the Holy War, Sarge?
Oh, I'm pretty sure he'll play in the Holy War.
See, I think that's the only game in the entire schedule he wants to play.
Probably. That's what I'm thinking too.
That's what he talked about during the offseason. That's all he could talk about was Holy War, Holy War, Holy. He didn't talk about anything else. So
it's kind of like all the BYU guys on Twitter just talking about Utah 24/7.
But that's what we do. That's what we do. I mean, honestly. But right now, you can make an argument that Utah and BYU are two of the top 4 schools in the entire conference.
Yeah, I know. I agree.
So
100%. So, Sarge, how do you see this Arizona State going Friday night? This game going?
Well, as I said in the chat, the only part of the game I'm worried about is actually having cable and power that night to watch it.
For sure. You got some different problems, my man.
Yeah.
Yes, that's absolutely true. I agree with that.
I'm pretty sure Utah's going to pull it out. It's not at home. I was about to say it was at home, but I think they're going to do it.
Okay. Well, any other updates you want to give us?
No, not yet. But people on Twitter ask me to film videos and stuff and put them on Twitter when the storm starts.
Man, I just want you to stay safe with your family.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll be safe.
And prayers
my
to
daughter, my daughter, she's about to turn 20. She just took off over to Cocoa area with her friends.
Right.
So right now it's just me, my wife, and the dogs.
What's the situation with your grandkids?
I haven't been able to talk to them. I think that they're having internet issues.
Oh, okay. Are they?
Yeah. I'm sending the money off, though.
Okay. I just pinched myself with a stupid paper binder. Sorry. All right. Well, we'll let you go. Thank you very much for checking in.
Right.
We're glad. Stay safe, okay?
Stay safe.
I will.
Okay, we'll see you later.
Talk with you, Sarge.
Thanks, Sarge. Bye-bye. That is awesome. I love when people want to participate. Here's a tweet that just popped up from Bob Thompson about a half hour ago, talking again more about this Rudy thing, following on his own quote, which we went through. For those that think 70 schools is a good idea, consider this. The 38 top schools will get paid between 4 times and 2 times a year what the bottom 32 will get on a per school basis. The bottom 32 will be paid money similar to existing Big 12 ACC deals. They have already theoretically slimmed. So he's saying they've already started to do that consolidation that we've talked about for a long, long, long time. He's not talking about a reshuffling at all, but he's just going by what's currently existing today. You guys have any comments on that?
He's nails on it. I mean, this is what is reality for the Big 12 and the ACC. And so the Rudy proposal is a breath of fresh air, because you're basically going to make what you'd have made anyway, with the opportunity to move up in the financial world. It's that simple, right? For the Big 12 and the ACC.
Right.
So it's a 100% win for those conferences, for the schools in those conferences, but it's a loss for the SEC and Big 10 schools.
I don't think that they'll sign off on it.
Right.
I really don't think the SEC and Big 10 will say, yeah, sure, we'll sign on to this. Especially with Sankey with his comments from last week. No way.
I do
sign off on it.
I do question the Swarbrick part of it. It's like, what's his motivation? He's not doing it to be embarrassed. He doesn't want to be looked at like the one the week before that came out that made the presidents at Syracuse and West Virginia kind of look goofy. Jack Swarbrick's, I mean, he's all Notre Dame. That's all he cares about. So if he's putting his name behind this, which is what Moen said, what's his motivation? That's what I've been trying to noodle on.
Well, I can tell you his motivation, Bomber. This gets Notre Dame everything they want. They get to remain independent. They get to be one of the top 8 teams in terms of payments.
Okay.
He's doing this all for Notre Dame. There's a reason this is called Project Rudy. This project is specifically designed to give Notre Dame everything Notre Dame wants. They don't have to join a conference.
Right.
They get to be paid at the top with the other brands. They don't have to worry about negotiating their own media deal anymore. So this gives Notre Dame everything they want. That's the reason that Jack Swarbrick is putting his name behind it.
Okay. All right. It's going to be fascinating to track it, because I thought we were done for realignment for a while since the Pac-12 deal happened.
What's weird about this, and maybe you guys can clarify this, my understanding after reading through the article, after stewing on it and stuff. So every school in the A4 would be in a different tier, right? Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3, and that would dictate your money payouts per year based on the media evaluation dollars come in.
Yes.
But you'd still be in the same conference.
Yes.
So Big 10, Big 12, ACC still exists. So you just have like Ohio State making a Tier 1 type of money with Northwestern making Tier 3 money, but you're still in Big 10, right?
Yes.
Is that
correct? That's how I read it.
Understanding?
Yeah.
That's the part that wouldn't hold water at the end of the day. I think it really does.
I think it's different. I think that if you look at the proposal, it says no team will take a pay cut.
You're right, and I said that at the beginning.
Yeah, the Big 10 teams that are making $60 to $110 million a year, even if they are Northwestern, they're going to be in Tier 2.
Well, wait, I didn't read it that way though.
Okay, but it says nobody's taking a pay cut.
Yeah,
I agree with you on the payout amount, but the tier levels grow. The tier levels grow over the next 10 years, right? And so, in my opinion, that would mean you would have the ability to now move brands. You leave Northwestern where they're at, but you could promote West Virginia, whoever, to get into that next tier. That's how I read that.
Right, but you're going to look at pay when it says nobody takes a pay cut.
And I agree with you.
These schools are going to look at projections and say, no, we're taking a pay cut.
But the top numbers, $60 million, is what they're making now.
Yes, that's
In
that's
tier
for
three,
tier
the
two.
top, no, tier three. It's
Now, pull
30
it
to
up
60
again.
million.
It's
It's
30 to
30 to
60.
60 million.
30
I'm
to
saying,
60.
and that's my point, is they don't lose money. They're not going to make less. Purdue's not going to take less money, but that doesn't mean they stay in the same pay tier. They
Yeah,
could be
see,
paid. They
that's-
could be in 3, paid 60 million.
They won't.
Well, of course they could.
They
That
would have to be
absolutely
in
could
tier
happen.
2. They
No.
would have to be in tier 2 to make that money.
Well, we don't know, right? It's not.
This is kind of how I see.
Yeah.
You know, like in like your jobs. I know mowing, like in corporate world and stuff. Somebody comes in, they're making a lot of money. They get a big job offer. They're above like the normal range for pay. What happens is year over year, they don't get like their annual merit increases, right? So Northwestern would be this high paid tier 2 team, tier 3 team. They'd sit there, they never get a raise, and everybody else would lift eventually, and it would equal out. So they would never take a pay cut. They're never going to get any more money either because they're not worth it.
That's how I read it too.
Again, why would the Big Ten and SEC get behind this idea?
They won't. There's nothing about the Big Ten and the SEC that they would support.
I don't even think the big
that.
brands. I don't think the big brands would get behind this idea. I don't think Ohio State, Michigan, and Penn State are going to take this deal, even if they make $250 million.
Why?
For what reason? Just the altruistic because you love funding Northwestern?
Yeah, why?
Yes. Yep, because it's about conference unity and it's about funding your conference brethren. I mean,
dude,
it is what it is.
Give some money to Utah while you're at it, man. Like seriously, like this generosity
you
in the Big Ten makes me sick.
Everybody cuts their own deal. You cut your own deal.
Well, then cut your own deal and you make twice as much.
Yeah, but if you do that, the conference is irrelevant then too. Then Moen, it's not any different.
No, I disagree. I think the Big Ten will remain the Big Ten. You can add 6 teams, get to 24.
Let me ask you this. Why does a conference exist? What is the purpose of a conference?
A conference is for the common good of all members.
Conference is an affiliation so that you can do combined scheduling, so that you can put things in a calendar and everything is charted out and everybody's pulling the same boat or in the boat and everybody's going the same direction. But in college football, what does a conference have anything to do with it? The final 12 teams this year, they're going to be the best 12 teams.
Absolutely.
So
I agree with that. It's a meritocracy based on the 12 best teams in the playoffs.
So if that's the case for the college football playoff, why wouldn't it be for the rest of college football? Why does a conference have anything to do with putting the best brands on the field to watch on a general Saturday?
Because they already can do that without losing their autonomy.
They can't.
They can. They can enter a scheduling agreement with the SEC, which is what they're talking about.
Well, they can't do it by themselves, of course.
Well, they can't do it by themselves. You're right. They need a partner in it.
But even those two conferences could do scheduling agreements to say we're only going to play each other, and that wouldn't be enough. There wouldn't be enough there to fulfill all the obligations.
Oh, so I disagree. I think
not unless you go to like 48 teams in 2 conferences.
Well, that's fine. You can get the Big Ten to 24 teams, have 6 regional divisions.
I just don't know why you continue to grow conferences.
You can get the Big 12 up to 24 teams.
Can you not project a time where conference numbers are kind of irrelevant?
No, not for me. I mean, if we're going towards the NFL model, this is the NFL model they want to push. They want to have all media rights controlled so they can monopolize them.
And they can make a bag full of money.
Whereas if they're separated, everybody can cut their own deal.
I just don't. That is a dinosaur model.
But that's
the
a college football model
in the world. That's why that's why private equity is getting their hands on this, guys. It's because it's super inefficient. And even for Ohio State, you're leaving so much money on the table that you could have. That's the craziest thing of all. It's everyone's making leaving. It's better for the entire sport. No. It's not better for the Big Ten conference, but it's better for the A4. 100%.
I can't explain it to you guys because you're not Big Ten guys, but if it means Northwestern and Purdue are not going to be equals to us in terms of revenue, it's not worth it for Ohio State.
I wish that USC would have thought that way before they stabbed the Pac-12 in the back because they basically gave us the bird.
The Big 12 had
That's-
unequal revenue, and that's the reason why Nebraska, Colorado, A&M left.
I
'Cause they-
think, yeah.
They
Go ahead, I'm
they
sorry.
basically thought that they were getting screwed.
I
And
think conferences are a dinosaur.
I
In 10
don't.
years, I don't even think we have anything that you have conferences for Olympic sports, basketball. You have to. There's just too many teams and too much organization. Football, it's going to be 48 of the best brands in 2 conferences, 4 divisions, playing for a championship every year. Something like that.
The Rudy
64
proposal.
teams, something like that. It just
Fun to
it
discuss.
yeah. I get where Moen's come from. He's told us this over and over again.
I know.
Obviously, we don't quite understand it because it doesn't make nuts and bolts sense. But I mean, that's great. If they're that loyal to each other in Big Ten, that's fantastic. I think that's
The Big
great.
Ten seems like a bunch of old friends, like old dog friends. They can
Yeah.
leave each other like in the foxhole ever, right? And
Yeah,
that's what it just seems like. And I get that dynamic and everything. But if you're not in the foxhole and you want to be in the foxhole possibly and you're just not invited, it sucks, Like share the freaking wealth, Like
I'm
let
gonna ask
more
Bomber-
people in the foxhole.
Bomber and Youth this, and I know Moen knows it. What year was the Big Ten founded?
I have no idea.
As the Western Conference, I believe it was
Yes.
1886. It was 1886
96.
as the Western Conference. Okay, 96.
1896.
1890s.
So we're talking.
Yeah,
so we're
1896.
talking teams that have known each other for 125 years, and that's something right there that just does not change.
The
And will
one
not change.
the one brand in all of world sports that still has the potential to explode growth is college football. It's not Premier League soccer. It's not the NFL. It is college football is the untapped resource, which is exactly what Bob said. Everybody's circling saying, look at all the money that is being left on the table. And the reason we're doing it is because of long hairs sitting in Penn State and Purdue. We're being held out by Vanderbilt and Mississippi State. At the end of the day, I just think money wins. I
disagree with you. I think the Big Ten Conference, those bonds are strong enough. They've been forged in so much stuff throughout the century plus. I don't see it happening. I don't see Ohio State saying that it's okay for Purdue to make less than us. It's okay for Wisconsin to make less than us. It's okay for Indiana to make less than us.
But you realize it's the
we
only
believe in equal revenue
organization.
sharing, and that's what
You
we
understand it's the only sporting organization in the world that doesn't run by a regular model. You
Here's
realize
the
that, right? It's the only one in the entire world, unregulated, that runs kind of like it's being managed on the back of a napkin.
But here's
That's what
where-
old
That's
college
because it was an
football
amateur model.
But
Yeah.
it's not anymore. It's not amateur. We got NIL contracts that are going out for millions of dollars for players that are sitting on benches. We have unregulated transfers. You really think in 2 years we're not going to be farther down the line where somebody finally puts their foot in the ground and says, I need more money than my neighbor? I find that
I don't think you're going to see that in the Big Ten. I don't think
Also,
you're going to
college
see it in my
that
football
just
conference.
seems crazy to me.
is very territorial. You're not going to have somebody that says, "Oh, I'm an Ohio State fan."
But there were other sports that were territorial that went away once money came in. Baseball used to be all kinds of territorial.
It still kind of is. I mean,
You have the Yankees making $12 trillion a year, and the Padres are running on a $8 million budget. It's not equal. They're not.
no,
It's not. It's
I'm
not
not
at
saying
all.
that. I'm talking about the fan bases.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think we can let it
Outside-
go. I'm just saying.
outside of the Cubs that was on WGN and outside of the Braves that was on TBS.
Because they were owned by the parent companies.
Yes.
That's why.
Yeah.
Nesson with New York,
Yes.
with the Mets, it's the exact same thing. So, anyway, it'll be
here-
fascinating to watch. Go ahead, you.
Let's just go through an exercise real quick. Okay,
Okay.
we won't use Ohio State, but Moen, let's go. Let's say it's Michigan. Okay, we're talking about Michigan. All right. Okay, so what's the pros and cons of this proposal for Michigan? Like, look at it. Forget the Big Ten as a whole collective. Just look at the Wolverines. Okay, we're the Wolverines. We're making that decision. So in my mind, you correct me where I'm wrong. You add, you subtract. Okay, there's one big pro, and that's doubling your money. Right? It's for compensation. I can double my money. I can pay for all the Olympic sports, pay more football players and stuff, and fund this operation like it should be, possibly. Right? That's the big pro on this. But the cons are you're possibly losing the historical relationships, the playing field that you built with all your Big Ten brothers. And I think that the hidden thing that's kind of below it all is really that you might have a loss of domination. If you're Michigan and you're dominating the Big Ten conference and you've set up a structure where you've dominated for many years and stuff, and you've got recruiting advantages and everything else in the structure you've built, you are dominant. And if you go into this new structure and you're playing BAM every week, Texas, you might lose that. And you might be less significant in that way. So that's a huge con, too, for Michigan. What do you think? Is there anything you would add in the pros and cons list for this, for Michigan?
Sure, autonomy. You lose autonomy because private equity is going to come in and tell you what's what. So
Well,
as
if
a
not private
university, you lose
equity,
autonomy.
somebody will.
Somebody
Yeah.
will. Somebody's
Yes.
going to.
Yes.
Private equity does not do this for charity.
Nope.
They are doing it for a return of investment.
Absolutely.
And if they come in and say, Michigan, you're not playing Ohio State anymore at the end of the season, there's no way for Michigan to stop it. Why would Michigan want to give up control over something? I get what you're saying. It's a lot of money. But it's not like Michigan and Ohio State are wanting for money.
No.
We can fund our Olympic sports.
Yeah.
It's about making sure Northwestern and Purdue and Indiana and those programs can also fund their Olympic sports and give more students, access to scholarships. So it's old fashioned. I get what you're saying, but it's one of the things that makes college football unique.
Antiquated is the word you're looking
Tribal.
for. Yeah,
tribal.
I don't think unique is. Look, you're not going to find more of a traditionalist for college football than me. I'm the oldest guy on this panel. I've been doing this the longest, and I'm a huge college football fan. I love the way it used to run. Money's come in. It's changed it. SEC, Big Ten, all those things. But at the end of the day, you adapt or you die. And I don't think this is tenable. It's not tenable that Mississippi, we keep picking Mississippi State for some stupid reason. I'll say BYU. There's no reason that BYU and Utah, who can put competitive teams on the field every week, don't have access to be able to go and play these games with these bigger schools just because of some tribal conference, which literally has no relation to geography anymore. Geography's out the door. You can't say it's geography anymore. Big Ten can't say that crap anymore. It's about playing football games, and Michigan playing at Oklahoma and Ohio State playing at Utah is better TV than you're going to get Vanderbilt playing Alabama.
Well, you say
And
that,
it
but look
makes
at the
no
ratings.
sense.
You look at the ratings for Vanderbilt, Alabama this week.
But it was trapped. They were on the SEC network. Nobody's watching them because it's on a channel. We're talking about an overarching entity that comes in and organizes all of it. Organizes Fox, organizes CBS, organizes NBC, organizes ESPN.
Monopolize.
And these games are on all these broadcasters.
They had that before, and it was thrown out in court in 1984. The NCAA used to run all the TV.
But that was for a different reason, though. It was the anti-competitive part of it that they threw out. If it was an organization, if it's owned by a private equity, or let's say it's owned by Saudi Arabia, I don't care. Whoever owns it, they come in and they organize the thing, which is what Bob's been talking about forever. Top to bottom, you're going to have the best product. I think they could pass the NFL in a decade because of passion and because you've got people that are playing each other now that never would because they were afraid of them. They were worried about their strength of schedule going down. All that goes away because everybody's equal.
I don't think you'll ever touch the NFL in money. There's no way.
I don't agree. How many hundreds of millions of people watch college football that are involved that drop off at the end of the year because they're not part of the playoff? I think it's an untapped resource. I really do.
I think I agree with you on some points, Bomber, but you don't need a super league to get there. I think the
So I
Big
didn't
Ten,
say
like I
Super
said,
League. I didn't say
well,
it's Super League.
I don't think you need. I think Big Ten can easily swell to 24, do a scheduling agreement with the SEC, and you can get those same matchups you're talking about.
I guess. I just, yeah, it's possible. Obviously, nothing's impossible. You're right. Cleveland Rocks gave us $5 and then signed off, saying, "Sorry, I'll have to watch a rerun. Keeping tabs on Hurricane all evening as we have a vacation home near Disney. Prayers to all. Stay safe."
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what? I think we're
Prayers
gonna
to all.
end it there tonight. Do you guys have any other comments you want
We
to
got
review?
one more
That
super
was a.
chat there.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I miss one? I apologize. Oh, yeah, Ricky Tunge. Good to see you, Ricky.
Ricky.
Sorry, I've been gone, man. It's good to see you. I agree with Moen. Big Ten already making money. The money is. It's not about the money. That's the missing my point. It's about the organization. That's what I'm talking about, and I think that's what Utes getting to too. We want
If it's about organization, then West Virginia should have been in the ACC in 2012. They're
I'm saying
not,
conferences don't matter, is what I'm saying.
but they still do for scheduling, and it's still
Only because we're in this stratified, ancient artifact of a.
But how do you?
football. I
But
don't even know how to.
you would have to blow up the whole entire system.
Yeah, I think you should. Yeah.
It's not going to happen. I mean, I would love to
I don't-
see it happen. I would love to have Virginia Tech, Pitt, Syracuse, Maryland back on the schedule every year, but it's not going to happen. It can't, because the way that everything's set up now, you've got non-conference games, so you only have, realistically, you can only have room in there for maybe one or two local teams. I mean,
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know.
I mean, it's difficult, but there's what people have been proposing, and whenever you have the biggest entity in college football saying we don't want to dumb down our conference, that pretty well kills the deal.
I think that the game plan is going after the big schools and not the conference, though. I think that if like Daniel, if you and I were like working for this private equity group, we would go be talking with Bama individually and not Greg Sankey. And Greg Sankey is like our enemy in this, right? Like he's not going to be an advocate. You don't seriously, like, you pluck his brands away and get them to agree, and he's going to have to capitulate anyway. He's going to have to get on board. There's nothing.
Yeah, but all these brands are under contract. They're under contract till
2030, right?
Yeah,
2031.
Yeah,
right.
Well, the
that's
SEC.
what we're talking about, timelines.
Yeah, I think the SEC is 32, 33.
No, I know Big 12's 31.
Yeah, I think the SEC is 2 years later.
No, they're like 1 year behind. When is Big 12? I mean, Big
30,
10
31, 29, 30, 30, 31, and I think it's 32, 33.
Okay, it's 34 for the SEC. Okay.
Yeah. And then the ACC, who knows?
Yeah.
This was the first time I remember, like, Notre Dame, though, like a side thought, Notre Dame, like, kind of aligning more with where the ACC and the Big 12 schools want.
I agree with that. Yeah.
This is really largely, it seems like it's going to be mostly driven by those three entities, Big 12, ACC, and Notre Dame, because they have a lot to gain. Right? Notre Dame has everything in the world they're gaining in this. I agree with everything Moen said, 100% for the Irish. They're not going to bend the knee to the Big Ten in this scenario at all. Never. Right? So they get their money, they get independence. It's great for them. But it actually helps Big 12 and ACC. And I think, Moen, you see that too. That, like, it gives it an opportunity to succeed and then financially be rewarded by moving up a different tier too. And right now that just doesn't exist. And like in some schools that don't have the media valuations because of the market will never have that chance. And so it gives a playing field where you can actually get promoted for success on the field. And that's why it's attractive to the Big 12 and the ACC and Notre Dame.
It's not about bending the knee to the Big Ten. It's about bending the knee to anybody.
Yeah, they don't want to join anything.
They want to have their cake and eat it too, and remain the snowflake of college football. We've talked this before. I know you want to get out of here, Nate.
No.
Dame,
I'm okay. Go ahead.
Notre Dame is responsible for pretty much all the realignment in college football within the last 40 years because they want to maintain their independence. This is just another way for them to do it and keep perpetuating this idea that they're special, they deserve better than everybody else. They're going to make sure they're one of the top 8 that's locked in permanently for their rate of revenue. They're never going to move down, even if they have a winless season. This is just more from Notre Dame helping Notre Dame, which I completely understand being self-serving. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to serve yourself. But at the same time, don't be a hypocrite about it. Just come out and say this is self-serving and that's why we're doing it, instead of giving everybody lectures on why we should do it.
Yeah, Notre Dame lecturing anybody is a no-no. All right. I think we're going to get out of here. Any last words, Daniel?
Nah. Just hopefully West Virginia wins against Iowa State.
Okay. All right. Moen?
Everybody down in Florida who's watching, please stay safe.
Yes, please. You've got we're cheering for you. Definitely stay safe.
They've closed up Waffle Houses. You know it's serious.
Dang.
How about you, Ute?
Rudy, 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 Rudy. Proposal.
Okay. I appreciate everybody watching tonight. I hope I didn't butcher it up too bad this evening. I had a lot of fun. I missed everybody. And we're looking forward to our next show, which will be Friday night. That will be our big freaking Friday show. Is there anything you want to preview on that, Moen?
We'll be doing picks. Of course, a big game this weekend, Ohio State at Oregon.
Yes.
Top 5 matchup.
Yeah. What time is that game?
That kicks off at 7:30 East Coast time.
So it's it's a night game.
It's the
Evening.
NBC primetime game.
Evening game.
Can't believe NBC got that.
Yeah, that is a bit of a coup. Yeah, that is a good slot. A lot of people are going to watch that game.
And we didn't need a Super League to pull it off.
And we're all glad for that. I appreciate everybody with their super chats, all the memberships, everything we've done. Thank you so much for all that you do. Continue to follow us all on Twitter. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube. Consider becoming a member of the College Football Mafia family. And then last but not least, make sure that you're taking care of yourself. If you're in Florida, stay safe and let us know if there's anything we can do for you. Other than that, I think we will sign off. Everybody have a great week, I guess. We will see you on Friday night, and peace out. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.